right, it's time to take a look at the headlines of dailies. Mary, of course,
absolutely.
is here with me. And we have expert today, Dr. Mr. Emanamfon Umana. It is great to have you. You are welcome.
Good to have you here.
Great to have you here. Okay, so we have quite a number of stories that we're looking at. Let's kick off from the Punch, right? And Tribunal, this was yesterday. That's a big story across yesterday. We'll get into today. Tinubu Atiku Obi's legal battle commences.
Okay.
Then we have a write underneath there that says PDP APM's petitions pre-hearings hold today. LPOB's case Wednesday. And then Tribunal warns lawyers and says those who deserve justice will get it. And there's also a story about AA, that's a political party, and their own suits being thrown out, you know, because for me, if you are going to contest the election results, as it were, it must probably be the second and at most the third, which is the case as it is. But there are calls that inauguration should be held or should, you know, be postponed or something up until the tribunal comes out with a verdict. Does that?
What's your thoughts on that?
Does that make any?
Okay, thank you very much. The way the court system works, aside political cases, okay, so there is actually provision where there is a request could be made, an application to be made to stay remain matters on status quo pending the determination of the suit. But that may not necessarily play out when it comes to political cases. And it was as a result of things like this that provision was now made for election petition issues to be resolved within 180 days.
Okay.
And of course, there is no law that says you have to hold on to the swearing-in process because government must continue.
Yes.
Exactly, that's the point.
Exactly. So government must continue. So those calling for a stay, they're actually trying to create a lacuna in the system, which will create more complications.
Yeah.
Now, for me, the court system has kick-started for aggrieved parties to air their grievances. So let them allow the court to do their work. Yeah. Of course, we had cases where people were sworn in and thereafter the mandate called back.
Yes.
So I think they should just take a breather, allow the court to do their thing, and if the ruling party should remain there, that would be. Otherwise, would get justice.
I was actually hoping we could take a look at Oyetola, that's on the Adeleke issue. Oyetola Hopeful as Supreme Court delivers judgment today.
Yes.
That's also in the Punch newspaper.
Yes, that is the so this resonates with what I earlier said. Of course, the state's machinery is still going on. Things are still happening. Independent of the court process. So if by today the judgment goes the way of Oyetola, well and good. If it goes to the way of Adeleke, well and good. But the most important thing, so that is why I always tell persons, and it is what we should imbibe, irrespective of who is on the helm of affairs, what is important is the people, the government. So whether it is Oyetola, whether it's Adeleke, whether it's PDP, whether it's APC, what is very important is if they've gotten justice, let the system continue to run and let the people get the dividends of democracy.
Absolutely.
So let's just allow things be, let the court do their work.
Okay, from there we move to the Guardian newspaper. And the Guardian newspaper has this content as aspirants, minority caucus reject Akpabio Abbas. What's your take on that?
Yes, you can see that the lobbying, as it were.
Yeah.
In fact, we had a talk of about 80 past senators who were supporting his bid. He has been going around trying to lobby for the post of Senate President. And then, of course, due to zoning, people are saying, okay, yes, you have the President, South, Vice President,
North.
Senate President should be South.
From the South.
From the South and all that.
Southeast or the South.
Southeast, South.
So for me, lobbying is part of the whole political play.
Yes.
Lobbying is good. But my opinion would be that this ought to be an internal process of the party. If a particular caucus has come up to say they are rejecting, on what basis? And I think democracy, of course, these are basic principles, separation of power, checks and balances. We've elected a president, now is the National Assembly. Why not allow them to do their work? Let them determine if Akpabio or Abbas or whosoever is contesting is actually fit for the office. They are qualified. This is their second term in office. So they have the prerequisites for these offices. Let the process determine itself. So, of course, there will always be political gimmicks behind the scene and all that, but I don't think Nigerians should be interested in all of these. Because in the end, who is rejecting what? On what basis? How does it bring succor to the common Nigerian on the streets?
Now, a quick one before we go to the Daily Trust newspaper. Still on the Guardian newspaper now. We have reconciliation not mentioned during Obi's visits. Soyinka clarifies. Of course, that's been the big story.
Yes.
Obi's visit to Soyinka, especially he applauding him for what he has done for Nigeria. That's Obi applauding Soyinka and all. Yeah.
Okay. So of course, for me, the court process is a reconciliation process. So it depends on the perspective that you are looking at. Of course, there are calls from different quarters to see how the matter could be withdrawn from court. People are meeting behind as an outside court to, try to gather up and maintain peace. But for reconciliation not to be mentioned, I don't think it's really an issue because Obi has taken a stand. He wants to go to court. If the court gives it to him, all well and good. If not, I think he'll be fine. So whether reconciliation is being mentioned or not, there is always a way the system will all settle everybody and everybody will go home happy. Because in the end, of course, Soyinka has done well, Obi has done well in his own right. So for him to have even visited, it shows he's a man of integrity. It shows he has Nigerian heart for. Of course, you know what Soyinka has done for the nation. So the respect. So I believe whether reconciliation is mentioned expressly or not, the good faith has been shown with that visit. The discussion, the interest of Nigeria has been played out. So I think that suffices.
It's a good thing you mentioned peace. Mike, I believe you have
everything. Yes, they're talking about the tribunal to lawyers. Parties, we must consider Nigeria's peace. Now, we've heard different lawyers, and look, at this point in time now, we cannot incite the polity and all of that, as it were. And the lawyers and all of that have a big role to play in this, because at the end, it is most important that we should have, like you said, governance should continue. Shouldn't be a lacuna.
Exactly.
As it were. How important is this particular call from the tribunal to the lawyers? What part do the lawyers play that is quite important in how things roll out?
Well, if you ask me, of course, lawyers are seen to be the light of every sane society. Proper lawyers, well-trained, well-bred, well-tutored, well-schooled lawyers, of course. They are meant to direct, advise, educate, and more like enlighten. So that's the first call. So we have that responsibility to do that at every forum or fora that we have. That's one. But secondly, I would like to switch the places. I think that call should be made to the tribunal.
Themselves?
Yes, because they are the arbiter. They are those that will determine whether or not the pendulum will swing the other way. That is one. Then secondly, if they do what is right, talking about the tribunal, that is when we will have peace. So the court is the last hope of the common man. So when you are sitting there, you are expected to do justice. Once you do justice, there will definitely be peace when you do what is right. So for them to say lawyer has a role, they have a role to play to maintain peace, I think they are already preempting something, which shouldn't be so. You just do what you're meant to do, follow the process, the evidences are there, whatever. And if it goes APC way, fine. If it's for the favor of PDP or LP, I believe peace will be had. The conscience of the judges, the arbiters, will be tested.
I would have thought it's because of the sensationalism that some lawyers do is probably why that was mentioned. But at this point, we have to go. We need to we need to say a very big thank you.
No, thank you.
Mr. Umana. Thank you so much for your time.